Today, I am doing an overview and review of the 2023 Ibex 800S by CFMoto. CFMoto came to the United States in 2002 and predominantly sold ATVs and side-by-sides, but after a hiatus began importing motorcycles again to the United States in 2022 with models like the 650 NK and the 650 Adventura. In 2023, CFMoto launched the Ibex 800 series in the United States with the Ibex 800S and 800T. The main differences between these trim levels include heated grips, a heated seat, quick shifter, and spoked wheels on the 800T, not available on the 800S. I'm going to break up this video in a few different parts: overview and features, pros, cons, and final thoughts. The Ibex 800S is a 799cc adventure bike that sits at about 500 pounds and comes in with an MSRP around $9,500. For a size comparison, I am 6 feet tall and 215 pounds. When sitting on this motorcycle, I can just barely flat-foot it. I think someone weighing less than me at the same height might struggle to get the suspension low enough to completely flat-foot when sitting. When riding, my legs are at less than a 90-degree angle and it's very comfortable. The engine on the Ibex 800 series is very similar, if not identical, to the KTM 790. CFMoto actually made engines for KTM for quite a while, so I think it's a safe comparison. I couldn't find an official 0 to 60 or top speed, but if I compare the 70-pound heavier Ibex 800 to the KTM 790, the top speed is probably somewhere around 135 to 140 miles an hour, and through my very unscientific tests, you can get 0 to 60 in about 4 to 4.5 seconds. As for the features, the Ibex 800S has every feature the 800T offers, minus the heated grips and seat, quick shifter, and spoked wheels. So we have cruise control, a bright LED screen that acts as a speedometer, the ability to change ride modes, Bluetooth connectivity, an electronic throttle, rear passenger seat and rear rack, adjustable windscreen, 2 USB drives, a 12-volt port, and a 5-gallon tank. If you connect the RideSync app to your motorcycle, you will have GPS location and tracking for your bike, along with the ability to check your gas tank and run a quick diagnostics from your phone. It also alerts you with vibration detection and tracks your recent trips. As for what I've already added to this bike, I have some saddlebags from GV that work really well so far, and a magnetic tank bag that won't attach to the plastic casing of the tank, so it's strapped down with bungee cords and it works just fine. I also have a windscreen adapter because the windscreen for me wasn't tall enough. Let's talk about the pros. The CFMoto Ibex 800 is a very comfortable motorcycle that handles like a smaller bike. It's 500 pounds and fairly tall, but it doesn't feel like that when you're riding. It handles extremely well in slow speed maneuvers and can keep up with highway speeds no problem. It's also very quick. I personally wouldn't call it fast, but if you called it fast, I wouldn't argue with you. Need to zip around some traffic going 25 and a 55? No worries. Want to zoom up to speed to merge onto the highway? Not an issue. Want to cruise a little bit faster? Easy. Personally, I put the design of this bike down as a pro as well. It has a very sporty look without the aggressive sport riding position. When you ride a motorcycle, you inevitably have people saying, "Hey, I really like your bike." When people tell me that they like this bike, I truly think they really do like it. I personally prefer the Nebula Black version of the Ibex 800 over the blue, but the blue doesn't bother me at all. Cruise control on this bike is a lifesaver. I've never ridden a motorcycle with cruise control, and I didn't know what I was missing, but now that I have it, I don't think I can go without. I think this bike sounds pretty good stock as well. Personally, I'd like a more aggressive sound from the muffler, but that's nothing that a little modification can't handle. I really like the vibration alert and RideSync app itself. I wish there was more features, but for a free app that works with this bike with no subscription, it's pretty rad. The seat on the Ibex 800 is extremely comfortable, and the ergonomics in general are fantastic for me personally. I've taken this out for hours at a time and had no back pain, no butt pain, or any other sort of discomfort. The suspension also works really well on this bike, and it should because it's a dual sport. Coming from a low to the ground cruiser, it was surprising to me how riding over bumps and potholes and speed bumps didn't feel like anything at all. Then again, I have been riding a cruiser for so long that I might have just forgot. Now let's get into the cons. The windscreen on this bike, for me, is a little too short even at the highest point. I get such bad wind buffeting at my head at any speed over 50 miles an hour that my vision becomes blurry. But I bought a little adapter on Amazon for $20 and it solved that issue no problem. Speaking of wind buffeting though, this windscreen is pretty small in width, which makes sense because it's an adventure bike. At highway speeds, it stops the wind from being miserable, but I found myself wanting to tuck in at speeds around 80 miles an hour, especially when passing larger vehicles. Touching on 80 miles an hour, that's actually the threshold of cruise control on the Ibex 800 series. So if you live somewhere like Texas where you might be cruising faster than 80 miles an hour for an extended period of time, you're not going to be able to utilize your cruise control. One annoyance I have with the Ibex 800 is the horn and the turn signal. They're just too close together and I find myself bumping the horn every time I want to turn off or turn on the turn signal. That's more user error than anything else, but I also don't like the turn signal. The turn signal is not very tactile, so I found myself looking at my LCD screen to verify that I actually turned on or off my turn signal. Also, it has an automatic offsetting, which would be cool, except it turns off when I'm sitting in a turn lane, and I don't want to get a ticket because my bike automatically turned off my left turn signal. For me, the biggest issue I have about this bike is the electronic throttle. Initially, I thought it was going to be very smooth, but it's in fact extremely jerky straight off the lot. This is especially apparent when you're rolling at lower RPMs and speeds. I'm sure there's going to be an ECU update for this, but for right now, it's something that I don't like about it. Lastly, the LCD screen works really well and it's very bright, but there's some things about the system that I found to be a pain. For example, if your phone is connected to the Bluetooth on this bike, you have the option to answer a phone call that comes in on your LCD screen. If you do that, it will not connect to your Bluetooth on your helmet, but connect with the Bluetooth on your bike, which doesn't have a microphone or a speaker. So if you answer a call on your LCD screen, people won't be able to hear you. Also, if you use navigation on your LCD screen via the Ride Sync app, it will give you directions on your screen, but it only does so in kilometers, not miles an hour, even if you set your Ride Sync app and your bike up to miles an hour. And here are my final thoughts. I am very surprised by how much I love this bike. The cons are more inconvenient things that I forget about rather than an actual hindrance to riding this motorcycle. CFMoto did a fantastic job with the Ibex 800S series. They're large, they're very quick, they look great, it's extremely comfortable, and with a few minor modifications, this could be a perfect everyday all-weather motorcycle or long-distance motorcycle. I don't think you're going to find another bike this size with this many features for that price. Overall, I am extremely happy with this purchase and would highly recommend this to anybody looking for a bike about this size. Thank you for watching, and if you would like to see more motorcycle, outdoors, hunting, fishing, hiking, camping related videos, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. See ya!